In the past, I've covered a lot of scams on this channel that played on one of mankind's basic emotions fear. IRS and Social Security scammers would try to convince you that you were in some sort of serious legal trouble, but if you just paid them enough money, it would all go away. The scammers know there's more than one way to get you to hand over your wallet. When fear doesn't work, they'll try another route the natural human desire to help. We all want to help each other and be kind. No one wants to see another human being suffer or in danger. Scammers will use these natural desires as a backdoor into your bank account. The first thing scammers need is a story. They have to come up with a scenario that will make you want to do something. They will show you a picture of a child who is supposedly missing, a lost dog, or an elderly person who is found wandering and confused. They won't, at first, directly ask you for any money. They will simply ask you to help by sharing the story with as many people as you can. They will ask you to flood Facebook or whatever social media site with the story so that the missing kid or dog can be found or the poor confused old woman can be reconnected with her family. So, being the good-hearted person that you are, you spread the story, which sounds legitimate, and spreads the scammer's message for them. Let's look at one. This is a post that recently showed up on my newsfeed on Facebook, shared by one of my Facebook friends who wanted to help make sure this young boy was saved. The image is of a real kid who was, at one point, missing. But that was months ago, in a different town, in a different state, and he was found shortly thereafter. Maybe the original poster, this Aura person, just didn't know? Poor Aura doesn't seem to have any Facebook friends at all, and she accidentally used someone else's picture in her profile. Let's look at her other postings. She has 2 postings in this Facebook group, which I am not mentioning here because it is a real group used by real people. She has this post about the missing boy, and she has another post about this house for rent. I don't know if this is a real house or not, but there's a link where you can go and find out more information and set an appointment to view it. Let's look at that website. You can tell that this is a totally legitimate website because, like all real companies, it is using the free version of GoDaddy. The domain name, Affordable House USA 287, is another clue at how legitimate this site is. You know that all big companies put random numbers in their site names. Who hasn't visited YouTube 8744 or Netflix 1122? There's a nice logo for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Maybe budget cuts have made it so the government has to rely on free web hosting now? And of course, there's the copyright notice at the bottom. Everyone knows who American Group is. Let's click on this link to look for a house. Why didn't the original post just take us to the house it was talking about? So now we've been taken to an entirely different website. At least it looks like someone paid for this one. This one is also hosted by GoDaddy, but the owners of the website are private. Let's see if we can find out anything else. There's a phone number and the email is listed here. I looked up this phone number and we can see that it is associated with some other websites, mainly renttooownclub.com, renttoownhomehelp.com, yourdailyupdates.com, claimmysettlement.com, patriotsmedicare.com, and getclinicaltrials.com, and literally dozens of other websites. If you call this phone number, you get nothing but a basic, please leave a message after the tone prompt. No introduction to the company, nothing that sounds like an organization that runs dozens of websites that help people find homes, claim missing settlements, get Medicare for veterans, or help desperate sick people find clinical trials to participate in. Now let's go back to affordablehousingresource.com. Clicking on any of these links just takes us back to the top of the form where it wants us to provide information. Okay, so let's fill out this information and see what houses we can get. For some reason I can't look at these houses until I let them run a credit report on me. You know how like when you go to Zillow and it won't let you look at any home listings unless you show your birth certificate? If you try to follow the links to get your credit score, you eventually, after being warned by your browser a dozen times not to go there, arrive at a dead end. Well, I can't get my credit score, but I guess I can look at the houses using this other link maybe? No, that just takes us to Rent to Own Club, another site that wants to gather personal information before we are allowed to look at houses. But thankfully, this company is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Let's click this link and look at their reviews. Oh dear. I'm not even sure I could afford a house at the moment, but luckily the original website shows me that I can add a browser extension that will automatically apply coupon codes. No one has ever made a malicious browser extension before, so surely it must be safe. Here's another link to get my credit card score again, and some more helpful links to get the financial assistance. Okay, so obviously we could be here all day. So what's the scam? The scam is your personal information. They want it, and they will do anything to get it. Sometimes it is mostly harmless. The scammers are just trying to get you to click on links that take you to sites that the scammers will get a kickback from. But it can also be far more dangerous. Imagine how much information you will have to give up to let them run a credit report. Imagine how much information you will give them if you let them have your credit report. When we think of scams, we often think of someone trying to take us for money, and in the end, that's what it is all about. But it has to start with a story or a hook. Someone approaches you holding a gas can, saying that they just need a few bucks to get home, and by the way, their sick child is waiting in the boiling hot car. A guy is standing behind a card table, and all you have to do is turn over the right card and you will win $20. These are just two classic offline scams that you're probably familiar with. These missing child, lost pet, or wandering elderly person stories are the same thing. A hook, a story, a trap to get you to click on a link or fill out a form. As you can see from the dozens of websites all linked to this one particular posting in an Innocent Neighborhood Facebook group, once you start following these links, you find yourself in a maze where tracking down the real owner, the real criminals, would be almost impossible. So as with everything else on the internet, consider the source. The more urgently someone is trying to get you to like or share a post, the more diligence is needed. If someone is truly in danger and help from the public is needed, that information will come from the news, law enforcement, amber and silver alerts, or other legitimate sources. A plea for help from someone you have never heard of in your town's public yard sale group is probably just the first breadcrumb on a trail that will lead to a scam.